What is up, and welcome to Ask DLF. It's Tuesday night. It's 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. We are excited to have a chance to be with the greatest YouTube chat in the history of all of YouTube and the internet right here on DLF. DynastyFootball.com is who we're brought by. Make sure you are a sponsor of, or not a sponsor, excuse me, they're a sponsor of us. Make sure you are a subscriber of Dynasty Football. Lots of great tools, lots of great information, lots of things that you can read written by Tyler, who is always right here with me. We all love him. There's no failure when it comes to Tyler. He is constantly cranking out great articles. Tyler, how are you today?
I'm good. It's a nice day. It's the first summer-like day we had in New York. So it was nice.
Very nice. We've had a little bit too much of that here in Louisiana. Lots of summer.
It's a very different equation down there, I would say.
And below me is a man you are maybe not familiar with here, but if you ever go on YouTube, you've probably seen his face somewhere or listened to a podcast. He's on about 1,000 of them. He is also a prolific writer at DLF. He is a part of the fantasy league that I'm in and jumped me to take a couple of players today I want to ask him about in just a little bit, but he's also co-host of Dynasty Trades. He will go on and sometimes with Mannequin Chill. All kind of great things. Shane is not the worst. He's the best. Shane, how are you?
Hey, I'm excited to be here. I don't often get invited on DLF podcasts / YouTube shows.
Why not?
I think I have a reputation.
Are we gonna find out?
you.
Is that
I have apparently a potty mouth, which some people are.
That works on this
of.
show. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, we know I don't care.
Also probably politics. I'll just blame politics. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, politics.
Yeah. Something happens you don't like, it's just politics.
All that matters in getting booked on as a guest on this show is whether I like you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, what are we doing here today? Shane is joining us to help us answer all of your questions. This is, after all, Ask DLF. So you are free to ask literally any question that you want. Whatever that means, whatever that is, ask those questions and we will get right to those. If you still have rookie drafts going on, you have rookie draft questions, then we'll talk about those. A lot of those are either already in the books for the more hardcore of us or, kind of towards the end. So any questions that you have there, looks like there are a couple, but trades. Like literally anything that you've got having to do with your football team, I promise, will be a smarter Dynasty player listening to these smart people. And then I'll chime in every now and then. So with that, here we go. Kid Coop jumped in. This is like an hour and a half over before the show started. Kid Coop, appreciate you getting your question in. 12-team Superflex round 1. I got Kyler at the 108. I'm almost on the clock in round 2. Would you take Lamb or Swift or a second QB between Watson, Lance, and Hurts? If so, in what order? What do you think, Tyler?
Well, I mean, you got Kyler at the 108, so you're already off to a great start. I mean, that's already very good. And then, in round 2, I don't know. I feel like, I guess if Watson's there, I would probably take him. I mean, what I'm hearing on Twitter today, it doesn't seem like the suspension is going to be very long. So... if the suspension is not very long, then I don't know. It seems like you'd have a good quarterback asset there. But honestly, all of these choices are not terrible. Hurts really is not in the same group as the rest of them. He's quite a bit lower for me. But I would take Watson.
How does the Philly fan feel about that shot at his quarterback?
I mean, so I'm with Tyler on the Watson thing because when it comes to Superflex leagues, I want to just beat you to death with my quarterbacks and I'll figure out the rest. I want to smack you in the face with Kyler and then in the back of the head, just club you to death with Watson as soon as he's allowed on the football field. After that, I'd probably take Hurts over Lance, which might seem crazy because Lance was a top 3
third overall pick.
Yeah, and they traded everything to get him. But it might be the Eagle bias in me with Hurts, but I really think he's going to take another step forward. He improved a lot over last year. I wouldn't even think about Lamb or Swift, to be quite honest with you. It's going to be one of those quarterbacks, and quite honestly, it's not close between Watson, Lance, and Hurts. It's Watson, and just you're going to eat 6 games. So pick up Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, or the still present, but not going to the Bahamas, Baker Mayfield over there. And I like there was somebody, I forget who it was, but they keep saying that like he should just show up to everything, and like that is absolutely what he should do. He should just be at he should go to the Bahamas with them.
I think that's
all that stuff. Force the trade.
I think that's Florio. Pro Football Talk is saying he should show up. Yeah, that he should show up to everything.
Well, then it's the one thing I've ever agreed with him about. So
yeah.
According to the ADP, I wanted to look up. Deshaun Watson is by far, I guess, the highest among this group. Let me what if Kyle Pitts was there? Would that change your mind on who you would draft?
No.
If it's tight end premium, I would take Pitts over any of these players.
Yeah, is it 1.75 or 2 point? That's the only way I'm doing it. If it's 1.75 or 2 point, or because some of us are nerds and we play in leagues where you get points for targets. Oh my God, at tight end, which is just incredible. You get a half point per every target. Well, then yeah.
I've never even heard of that. You get a half point for tight end target?
I don't know if it's a full half point, but it might.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. I'm in a league where there's tiered target scoring too. So besides the receptions, like tight ends, a tight end reception for a first down is like 2.5 points, something ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. Yeah. All right. Hopefully that helps you, Kid Coop. If you are, if you waited patiently for an hour and a half, I hope we did that justice for you.
Hopefully he's still watching. Or how sad would that be if he just he never even heard this answer?
I know, right?
Tyler, you should answer it anyway in Ask DLF weekly column.
Yeah, that's true. Those I do like that column, although I do often feel like it comes out 3 days later and it's
plug that, by the way, because I don't know that we should hit on that more. Tell people what that is.
We should hit on it more. I mean, it's a column I write about some of the questions from the show. I do realize that oftentimes those questions are it's way too late for them. The reason we write the column is one, to promote the show, but also because it lets me highlight some of the tools that DLF has to offer. Since I can write about anything I want, it's easy to pick the questions that allow me to highlight the tools the best. So that's the other reason we actually do that article. But yeah, it's nice. I mean, you can go read some long form stuff from me because most of my articles are just the templated ones. So it's rare that I actually get to write about anything else.
Well, definitely make sure you check that out. A lot of times it's stuff that it just takes a little bit more detail to go into than we maybe have time here as we're trying to answer a ton of questions.
Not always, though. Sometimes I pick out trades just to highlight the trade finder and the analyzer.
Henry's got a few for us. Henry is a legend. I don't know if you know Henry Muto. Shane, Henry is a legend, been around for a long time.
Henry
had
140
something leagues, I think you told us last year.
Yeah.
So, yeah. 12-team PPR, start 3 wide receivers with 2 flex. I had picks 3, 10, 22, 34 to start. Traded 3 and 10 for 4 and Judy. Oh, so yeah, 3 and a 10th, or just 3 and 10? Okay, yeah, 3 and 10.
He traded 3, not 3/10 of his picks. He traded 3 and the 10 for a 4 and Judy.
A fourth of Jerry Judy.
Not a fourth of Jerry Judy.
Yeah. Then took Garrett Wilson and traded 22, 34, 20, 23 third for 15. It's a Pickens. Okay, I love that kind of trade where you're in essence saying I'm going to borrow from next year to pick my spot and not just take what falls to me. So I do love that last one right there. But yeah, overall, what do you think right there? Are those a good move? Trading 3 and 10 for 4 and Judy. What do you think about that one?
Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll just break it down the simplest way because I'm a simple human being. I'll take Judy over Judy and the 10 are about equivalent, right? That's fine. That's fine. And Garrett Wilson is my wide receiver, one of the class. So to get him at 4, yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm stoked. And I couldn't care less about 22, 34, a 2023 third. And then you get Pickens, who's, it's got a lot of upside. That's what we're shooting for, right? It's no fun to shoot for bunt singles. Let's shoot for the home runs.
Then he follows up and says, would you trade pick 5 in a 14-team PPR tight end premium 1 QB league for a 2023 first that you thought was a lock top 5 next year, 50% chance being top 3?
I mean,
absolutely.
Really?
Dude, go hit accept. Stop watching. I mean, come back, but go hit accept.
I think I might do this if it was a random 2023 first. It'd be close.
I look, I've been on the boat of even in Superflex leagues where, and this is close to that because it's 14 teams, even though it's one QB.
One QB. Yeah.
I've been on the boat like, look, if you want to trade anything after the 103, and sometimes if you want to trade the 102 for a random 2023 first, may God be with you, and I bless your decision.
You don't agree, Tyler?
No, I mean, I don't know. These hypotheticals of always, it's a lock top 5. I always push back on that because it's like how locked is that? If this were really true, if it were really as he claims, and it's this locked as he says, then I would do it. If it's a random first, I wouldn't do it, especially in a 14-team league. I mean, random from 1 to 14 versus 5. I mean, there's 5 in a 1 QB. There's 5 players that I really like, and Jameson Williams is a 6 that I'm okay. I like him. But I wouldn't do it if it were random. No, I don't. It's different in a super flex because in a 1 QB, you're less likely to pay the price, where this year there's no quarterback really. There's Kenny Pickett is, I don't want him. So this year, if you give away a pick in a super flex for a pick next year, you're much more likely to have that pay off because there's going to be 4 or 5 premium assets instead of just, 4 or 5. It could be 4 or 5 top 2 round startup picks in next year's 23 draft. Whereas in a 1 QB, there's not going to be, while the class might be great, there's not going to be 5 top 2 round startup picks in next year's rookie class. There's not that many good players in any class. There wasn't that many in the 2017 class. There wasn't that many in the 2020 class either. So, it's just not something I would necessarily gamble on. But in a super flex, I'm much more likely to do it with those quarterbacks in there, because in the super flex, there's not a lock that Bijan Robinson is even the 101. Although I think he will be, even in super flex, as weird as that is.
Still working our way through the pre-show questions. So if you're watching this, make sure you get your questions in early. Raynard says, which side wins this 10-man PPR 1 QB? AJ Brown, Travis Etienne, 2024 first, or Javonte, Mike Williams, 2023 second, 2025 first, and a third.
Okay. I wrote this in the article last week, so it's a good plug for the article. I do not agree that we should have 2025 firsts allowed to be traded. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's a very, very bad idea. And it's something, and it's sleeper. If you're listening to the show, this is actually something that you do. You put in the new picks by default after the rookie draft, whereas MFL does it a little bit differently. It's the picks are added after rollover. So sleeper, the default is to have 3 years of rookie picks future. So before the draft, you have your 2022 rookie picks, and then 23, 24. And then after the draft, 25 is put in. I do not think that should be the default setting. I think that should change, because I think that having 3 years of future picks is asking for it, to have leagues just be completely destroyed. If you trade away 3 years of future picks, then you don't have a first round pick till 2026. What if someone abandons that team and then you have an orphan? So I don't like that. I don't think you should. I think 2025 picks should come in when the league rolls over. So January 2023, then bring in the 2025 picks, not now. But to answer the question, anyway, it just seems like the Brown side is better, right? 2024 first is better than 2025, and I'd rather have ETN over that other grouping. And AJ Brown and Javonte are pretty similar, so it's pretty clear that the AJ Brown side is better.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think I want AJ Brown too. Is it a clean sweep, Shane?
Yeah. It's not particularly close for me. I like first round draft picks. Just 2025 is those.
I'll be 30. I'll be 30. Just give you. I'll be 30 when that pick is made.
Those kids are in 10th grade right now. 10th grade. So no, look. I'm usually like 2024 first is about as far as I'm willing to go out, because I can still. Well, enough information on the class, but 2025, I'm not with Carp. I don't care if it's tradable as long as people pay.
If people pay, but that's again not the default in most leagues. The default,
it should be then. Well, let's put that out. Anytime you're trading a future
we
first,
we can put that rant in the next article because I was kind of a rant about 2025 picks. I can put the rant of I think anytime you trade your future first, you should have to pay for that year. I totally agree, but that is not the standard.
No,
it should
be. It should be. Definitely.
It should be, but it's not.
Well, do better, people.
Oh, I agree with you. I mean, this is why we have so many leagues folding and why people turn to, third-party commissioners or other services that guarantee that the league won't fold.
I'm going to actually start
rules.
I'm going to start a third-party commissioning gig, but I'm not going to put a lot of work into it. I'm just going to let everyone kind of just self-commission, but I'll just say I commission. You know what I mean?
I see. That sounds like a good business model.
Yeah.
Tanya comes back. Dynasty. I assume this means contract league. Which of the following players would you go all in on for the next 3 years? So I don't know that any of these you want to go all in on the next 3 years, but you sometimes on these leagues you have to have a 3-year contract on a certain amount of players. So that may be the situation that he's in. Superflex, Happy PR, Kamara, Allen Robinson. I'm assuming Keenan Allen based on the context of the question, and then Leonard Fournette.
Man, so yeah, I mean, if you have to, I mean, wide receivers because the shelf life is longer, right? And Fournette and Kamara are both on borrowed time at this point. They're already past the age cliff. Anything they do now is a surprise. Mm-hmm. Now the caveat is, am I willing to eat salary for a title next year? Because if I am, I might be all right with going all Fournette and Kamara, depending if I can get any kind of discount on his prison time. If they're going to cut some of that salary off for me.
I don't think any of these players are going to give you anything in 2024, though.
If you have a choice, I don't think you do any of it, right? Like,
if it's all or nothing, I want none of them. I'm just taking what's on the board.
Yeah, assuming you have to, I guess.
I would take Kamara and eat the time also.
Because Keenan Allen is what? He's 30 right now?
He's already 30. Yeah. So Keenan Allen's actually farther along the age curve than Kamara.
Yeah.
And then A-Rob
turns 29 in August.
Yeah.
But he looks like he's 39. So.
Right. Jake is rebuilding an orphan team, 12-team Superflex. Tight end premium have Zeke and Kamara. What should I look for in return? This is tough. These are two assets I don't feel like you can trade.
But if it's an orphan and that's all you have, I mean, but
what are you getting for him? I guess is the
So here's the thing: I go to the DLF trade finder, right?
That's right.
You're going to look those players up and see what kind of trades are sitting out there in the real world. And in the real world, you're looking at things like Keenan Allen and Brandon Cooks for Alvin Kamara.
Oh, that doesn't help though.
No. A 112 Russell Gage and Marlon Mack for Alvin Kamara and a 2.8. The problem is you're looking to sell old running backs in the offseason when nobody's scoring points. So old running backs literally mean absolutely nothing to anyone. Wait until points matter. And then you look to move these guys because no one's going to care about them until no one's going to care about these two or want to pay up for them anytime soon. And I know like your first instinct when you get an orphan is to just annex the whole team. Have a little patience, keep it in your pants for a little bit.
These two are not the same. Like, I think the second that you see Ezekiel Elliott take the field this year, whatever his sell value is now, it's going to be 20% of that in like 2 weeks. It's not good. It's not going to be good. Whereas Alvin Kamara, I think Ezekiel Elliott is washed, done, finished. Whereas Alvin Kamara, I think still has it. I don't think there's anything. He didn't look washed at all. Alvin Kamara looked great. Whereas Ezekiel Elliott is finished. So I would Zeke, I would take anything. If I'm in a rebuild orphan desperate, I'll take anything. Because I think whatever you can get before week one, after week one, when you see him plod and just look like crap, you're going to be able to get a lot less. So I would just take what you can get with Ezekiel Elliott. Alvin Kamara, I more agree with you. I did my redraft ranks recently. I have Alvin Kamara at 9, and I have Ezekiel Elliott at 24. So essentially.
So here's a little fun thing. So I while Tyler's talking about how awful Zeke is, and look, I've been clanging that bell since he came in the league because I hate him because he's a terrible human being and he looks like a stupid Ewok. Looking at the DLF trade finder, there's people getting first for him, 2023 firsts.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Not to wait with Zeke. I think you
Lord.
can.
Yeah. You're right. Now
you don't want to see it. You don't want to see it. You won't be able to get a 23 first once you see it. Once you see the speed that he doesn't have anymore, you're not going to be able to get that 23 first anymore. So I would just do it now while you still can.
If people are willing to do that, then you need to immediately just carpet bomb your league mates for every first in 2023. Like literally everyone that has a first.
Here's an idea from ADP, this month's ADP. So Chris Olave, before Jarvis Landry signed, was lower in ADP than Ezekiel Elliott. And if I could turn Ezekiel Elliott into Chris Olave, I would do it easily in any situation, let alone a rebuilding orphan disaster. Yeah. So that's an ADP pivot you can make.
There's any of the big 5 wide receivers I would take over them.
Well, you can't get the other ones.
But you could probably talk me even in the Sky Moore. I could be like,
I have Sky Moore ranked ahead.
Yeah,
I have Sky Moore over a round ahead of Ezekiel Elliott in my own rankings. So I would do that.
I usually think about pivoting, I guess, to a different position with these guys, like trying to get like you guys were talking about wide receiver.
It's an orphan, so you don't want a running back, you want a receiver.
But let's say you're in a like-minded league and like somebody offered you Miles Sanders. Which one would you rather?
So, what does Miles Sanders do for me? I don't want Miles Sanders.
Could I argue there's a better chance he looks worth trading for?
No, because I think that people hate Miles Sanders even more than Ezekiel Elliott.
I don't know. There's this large contingent of us, and I remember we had this conversation in the chat, right, where we were like, I was like, everyone's over Miles Sanders, and then the chat showed me that I was wrong. Like there were people like, no, I still believe in him. I can see it because he looks so good for short flashes. I don't want to get hurt like that again. I'm not going to do it. No, I'm gonna like Tyler said, I'm not pivoting to Miles Sanders. Maybe Elijah Mitchell. How about Elijah Mitchell? You give me Elijah.
I'd rather have Elijah Mitchell.
Love that.
Okay,
yeah,
I'll do Elijah Mitchell.
I don't know if you can get that done.
I don't know who's giving that up. I guess is the.
How about James
Cook? You want another sneaky idea? If you could pivot from Ezekiel Elliott to either Devonta Smith or Amon-Ra St. Brown, they lost value when other receivers were brought in. People might be kind of not liking those players, but maybe you could, if you're in a rebuild, you could pivot to them because I don't think either of them just became bad overnight. I mean, they still have talent there. So it might be a good time to pivot off of Zeke to one of those guys. That's another thing you could try if Olave doesn't work out, because there's hype around Olave. He was just drafted. People are excited, whereas like Amon-Ra and Devonta Smith, maybe not as excited. So you might be able to get those guys.
Very good. Hopefully that helps. I know those are the kind of things that I think a lot of people really are dealing with right now, and that really is, some of those decisions are tough. I have a team where I was competing, so I didn't want to get rid of Zeke, and I'm just kind of left holding it now. And I didn't win the championship. I probably can't carry the same team in and expect to compete, and I need to rebuild, but I can't get anything. I even offered to do a Russ Fisher special where I would post it on Twitter, and I couldn't get any bites.
I mean, so that's the story with running backs, though, right? You'd rather be a year early than a year late, because if you're a year late on them, you're really like 2 years too late on them.
I know.
It's really sad. Like there's nothing you can do. Like they're just going to retire on your roster. And that's fine if you're cool with like RB3 weeks and then, spike RB2 weeks when everything goes right.
Well, Ezekiel Elliott, after the first few weeks, didn't have any of those. I mean, after the first few weeks of the season, he just looked like, he was 100 years old.
He is actually 100. They lied about his age.
Stefan Peterson chimes in here. He says his girlfriend's always around when watching, and had a question of her own. What are your zodiac signs? I had to look it up because I thought it changed.
What's what zodiac?
How old are you two? What the come
I'm
on.
Aquarius. No, but did it change? I didn't know it was Aquarius. No, are you sure?
No, they've been the same since people have been reading them in the papers since like the 40s.
Oh,
I don't know anything about the zodiac, but I do know that.
Well, the Zodiac was a serial killer.
Yeah, I know that. That one I know. I know that the Zodiac killer is a thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know what my zodiac sign is. My birthday is February 12th. If that does it,
I'm gonna say you're a well, I only know 2, and one's because Cal named it.
Oh no.
No, it's not. I know it's not me. I'm a Scorpio. And Stefan.
Oh, that explains a few things. I know what a Scorpio is.
Yeah. So if your girlfriend knows anyone that gets along with Scorpios, hit me up.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's Aquarius, there's Scorpio, there's
Gemini?
You're the rat, Gemini.
I know Aquarius
There's
because
the crab one.
Because of the song.
Cancer. Yeah. Age of the Aquarius.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, next question.
Tyler hates these kind of questions.
I love those questions.
It's funny. I take
them
on my own show, but I'm less likely to give him time here.
Then Stefan chimes in, I guess, with a question of his own. And look, feel free, anyone listening, if your girlfriend has a question, we will answer those too.
She can ask herself too.
Especially if it's about my hair. I'll take as many questions about my hair.
1-6 and 1-9 or T Higgins, 10-team, 2 QB PPR.
Oh, Higgins easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, if this was like a 14 team or a start 13, start 12, start 11, maybe. I got a feeling it's a start 9, even if it's a start 10. Yeah.
If you read the names, I mean, from my rankings, 106 would be Jameson Williams and 109 would be Sky Moore in this format. So when I put the names to it, it's easily T Higgins. So yeah.
Andrew Carlson, 1 QB, 12-team league, PPR. Would you trade 2 2024 seconds and a 2023 third for Trey Lance? In a 1 QB.
It's a 1 QB, so probably not.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, probably not. Like you can get starting quarterbacks for a 4th or off waivers. Like Jared Goff, apparently, I learned this from reading in the DLF Slack that Jared Goff didn't even have an ADP in this month's 1 QB. So he wasn't drafted at all. So I'm not giving up picks like this for a quarterback in 1 QB.
Now, look, you're going half. Like, stop taking half measures, dude. If you want to trade for a quarterback that you think is going to actually make a difference, dude, just go trade a first for Pat Mahomes or Justin Herbert or Kyler or Lamar. Like, just go all in on it. Don't pussyfoot around it and go, well, let me throw a bunch of seconds at it and see if Trey Lance could turn into this. Just just nut up about it and do it.
In a 1 QB, this should bring you a better quarterback. Like if that were Dak Prescott instead of Trey Lance, I would be who actually has proven that he can be good. I would be more into it.
I mean, in 1 QB, like I'm only trading for a QB that's like fundamentally going to change and move the needle. And then, like,
I can't remember ever trading for a QB in 1 QB, but who plays 1 QB?
When I did do that, but again, it was like Pat Mahomes, Kyler Murray, like that type of level player, like where it's like, all right, this dude's making a significant difference.
Yeah, it's to be honest, it's actually for me, it's more that I either end up drafting quarterback in rookie draft, or I would never trade for this like mid range. You would see me like give up a 4th round pick for Matt Ryan.
Yep, love it. Monty wants my take on the Saints tight end situation, Taysom Hill and Adam Troutman. I don't think either are going to be good. I think Taysom could get goal line carries.
You're not going to be able to play him.
Yeah, I think he could. So I don't mind, but Adam Troutman to me is irrelevant. I would not roster him if he was on waivers at all. Most people wouldn't roster Taysom either. You probably don't need to, but I think if he's got a decent role that looks anything like what he's had in the past when he was just focusing on being like a backup and a tight end, like a Swiss Army knife, there's a chance that he's a relevant tight end.
I mean, if his target share increases from year 2 to year 3 as it did in year 1 to year 2, sure. We're talking about an 8% target share jump. I'm thinking that's probably not likely with Chris Olave and Juice there. I don't see that happening.
Fair.
Yeah. Adam Troutman is, he just turned 25. So this is kind of the year, 3rd round draft capital. It's either you're going to see it. You'll know almost immediately. Like he'll either have made a leap forward or he isn't going to, and then that's it.
He has an ADP of tight end 31. That is amazing.
It's about right. Yeah, it's about right.
He's a dude.
Behind.
Oh, yeah. No, it's funny, actually. I have him ranked at tight end 31. Exactly. So I'm with the ADP.
Yeah, me too. Like, in other words, don't draft him. Henry knows that you love these kind of questions. We talked a little bit about Miles Sanders. Would you rather have him or Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of failure in this question, but oh man, I mean, Shane, you can go first.
Yeah, this is going to be Miles Sanders, because the difference between Miles Sanders and CEH is that Miles Sanders is actually talented. What has generally stopped him has been himself. He's never played more than 6 games in a row, which is just impressive. Like, I'm almost impressed at that. When I read that the other day, I didn't pick that stat myself. I read it in CSN and I said, wow, how do you not play more than 6 games in a row?
Wow.
He's a good receiver. He does dumb things, though. Like, he runs out of bounds when the Eagles are trying to stop the clock on back-to-back plays.
He's a good receiver. Not since 2019, he hasn't been a good receiver.
Rookie season, he was excellent.
But that was a long time ago. In 2020, he was the worst receiving running back in the NFL.
But my point is, CH has never shown to be any good at anything. He had a
CH is terrible at everything. Yeah, terrible at everything.
Stretch last year where we started to believe, and then he got hurt.
I will say that CH is very lucky that they replaced his backup with a much worse backup. I think that they were better off with Daryl Williams. When Daryl Williams played, the offense looked better. And then when failure came in, the offense clearly took a step back. And now they have Ronald Jones, who's good for one mental mistake every 5 minutes. So we can't, that just sounds even worse than, Clyde. But I'll still go with Miles Sanders just because they didn't add anybody either.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if anyone offers me Miles Sanders for my CEH shares, I'll do that trade straight up, even though I generally don't do running back for running back trades.
Yeah, I have Miles Sanders and redraft, though, at 27 and Clyde at 28. So I'm not expecting fantasy viability from either player in 2022.
Me neither. They're literally right back to back in ADP. So good question, Henry. G Money, 12-team Superflex, half PPR. I got offered a 2024 first and Robert Woods for Chase Claypool. What do you think of the value, and what's your view on Woods?
Look, I've been a Robert Woods fan since not Buffalo, because he was an absolute trash can in Buffalo. But I was singing his praises ever since then, and now it's time to move on. If I can get a 2024 first for him, the only thing is Claypool, man. The upside is there that he could be so much more, but in half PPR. Anyway, back to Robert Woods. I mean, he seemingly has a chance to be the wide receiver 1 in what do you call that place? Tennessee, right? Tennessee.
Burks is the one.
Right. Well, even if Robert Woods was the one, though, we're talking about 120 targets. Robert Woods isn't the kind of guy that's really going to smash on 120 targets as much as I love Robert Woods. Give me something a little more. Just get something else thrown in, and I'm probably going to take that pick side.
I'll just take the first over Claypool. I'll take any first over Claypool. Claypool just sounds, we're on a trajectory of failure. So I don't, once we start with failure, it's always downhill from there. So I don't really want any part of that. So I'll go with the first.
Read that trade wrong anyway. I got offered 2024 first and Robert Woods for Chase Claypool. Oh, smash. Yeah, smash.
Yeah,
do
that. Robert Woods is done, by the way. He's done. I don't have any interest in him at all.
Jesse Real, hey guys, I hope you're well. Brady was cut in my league after he retired. Where would you take him in the rookie draft? Bets are included in our draft, 12-team, Superflex, PPR, non-tight end premium. This happened in one of my leagues. I'm going to go look and see where he went. And what do you guys think if he was available?
I'll take him before Kenny Pickett.
He went 111 in this exact same draft. Exact league type.
Yeah, I'm guessing what Sky Moore and Jahan Dotson are off the board at that point, or you're looking at the Jahan Dotson, George Pickens type of level of player. I could see taking him there. Yeah.
Yeah, I have him at what would be 201, actually.
Yep. So pretty high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I take him over Kenny Pickett.
I would not.
No, I would. Not without a doubt. At least Brady's going to give me a top 12 season. I know that. I don't know if Kenny Pickett, you add up all his career, he's going to give me one top 12 scoring season. Add it together. Add it.
He's going to have opportunities, though, which mean to me at some point he's going to have more value than he has right now.
In theory, yeah. Or he'll go out there and he'll Daniel Jones it all up, and then people will tell you, "Well, I got a first for Daniel Jones 4 years ago."
Was a dynasty quarterback one after his rookie year. You had your chance to sell if you wanted.
People tell me that, I still could get a first for Daniel Jones. No,
you can't now, but you had your sell window with Daniel Jones after his rookie year. He was a low end dynasty quarterback one after that year. You could have sold.
But nobody was selling then. Nobody was selling. They were buying. They were buying into him. He's going to be a stud.
I don't know if I remember it that way.
If Alvin Kamara, asked Monty, gets a 6-game suspension for felony assault in Vegas, do Saints roll with who they have on the roster, or they try to sign or trade for a free agent? The Saints have actually, like, post Sean Payton, been fairly aggressive with signing free agents.
Who could they sign? Who could they sign?
Well, I just like
Jordan Howard.
What I mean, so like if somebody became available, like I feel like they could, but they have a couple of guys on their roster right now that they have liked at least in the past. I mean, right now, so they kept Mark Ingram around, which tells me they at least possibly think that, like, I don't know why you keep Mark Ingram around if you think that Kamara is going to be there full time. But they got Tony Jones, Abram Smith, who they just picked up. What do you think? They
extended Mark Ingram before, after they traded for him in the middle of last season. So they extended his contract for 2022 before this incident with Alvin Kamara happened.
Yeah.
It was always their plan to have Mark Ingram around. But there's nobody in free agency that I think that they would prefer over Mark Ingram. So Mark Ingram will be the starter.
I'm a little surprised. Daryl Williams is still sitting out there.
I am surprised that Daryl Williams is still sitting there because I think he was good last year, and I think that he, deserves a job. And I really do think he is going to sign. I don't know why he's waiting. I'm sure that there are teams that would have given him some job with some playing time. He's competent. I mean, I'm sure they would call him if Kamara had a suspension, but I don't know. I mean, other than Daryl Williams, the only other free agent that's really out there at all is Justin Jackson.
Yeah, you don't count Alex Collins because he's still around apparently.
I mean, Philip Lindsay was the third best, and he just signed with the Colts.
Oof. Yeah, I mean, like, what's the point of signing Alex Collins, David Johnson, Devontae Freeman? Like, Mark Ingram could do that for 4 games.
David Johnson used to be like Alvin Kamara. So you could
that one season he was really
that
good.
one season, yeah.
Yeah, he was.
I could see them signing David Johnson.
Yeah.
Not that David Johnson hasn't had anything left in quite a while.
Well, I mean, he was an old prospect. He was 32 when he came out of college, so he had one good season and he was already past the age cliff. And
do you know where Daryl Williams went to college?
I do, only because I'm looking at the chat.
He went to LSU.
Yeah.
Which means that they just signed a bunch of LSU guys. So I don't know. That could make some sense.
He played ahead of Clyde when they shared the same team.
Uh-oh. Old act now that we are through the draft and most free agency. What are some good win now running backs to go out, seek and acquire for a contending team that might come at a reasonable cost? I feel like the easy answer is James Conner in these kind of situations. I think Leonard Fournette maybe, but his price has gone up. What do you guys think? Any other name?
I mean, this is going to depend on what the hell is reasonable. What do you define as reasonable? Like, to some people, a 2023 first is reasonable if you think you got a shot at a title.
It also depends from league to league, right? Like, sometimes these players are more, depending on the league. Generally, the better the managers, the actually more available these players are. But if it's like a home league, then these players tend to not be very available. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, the Leonard Fournette Leonard Fournette is going more than 2 rounds of ADP ahead of James Conner. So that's telling me that probably James Conner is cheaper, a lot cheaper.
Look, I'll go with my old standbys, right? People that have never really seemed to like Josh Jacobs or David Montgomery, if you want to spend on a running back, but not spend too much. In some leagues, depending. Just did a show on Dynasty Trades in 5 talking about Saquon Barkley. It's divisive. Some people are still like, oh, I believe, and other people are looking for any life raft you will throw them. You want to go King Henry, like you want to get cheap, but I don't like being cheap because you get what you pay for in a lot of instances. If I'm going to go cheap, it's going to be for like a spot start during the season. Like if you're going to go, I say you just go. It's just, running back's a fragile position and you don't want to do that. But, look, anyone over the age of 26 that's had a little dirt thrown on him tonight, Alvin Kamara, you should get a discount on him. Make sure you remind your league mate, because he'll love this, that Kamara is probably going to get suspended for 17 games or whatever.
I would say this is probably a move that I would be looking to make not right now. Like, wait till the season gets here and don't necessarily jump in now. Like, if you are a win now team, you don't have to, like, just make the playoffs. Like, use whatever running backs that you have and, like, make a move during the season.
Yeah, because the problem with running backs is you get a running back and they get hurt.
Right? That's true. All right, let me just keep for them to get hurt.
Yeah, let me just keep filling that hole in, and it's like, all right, next week,
the couple days before week 1, then they can't get hurt.
Right.
Yep. Joel A got a 2023 first for Elijah Mitchell. Do we like that?
Yes,
dude. Yes. Stop it, you bragger.
Yeah,
of course we like that.
A brag post.
How do we get off of Terry McLaurin?
Why don't you trade him while he's depressed? Look, he's going to get a 25% market share from Carson Wentz, who Tyler loves.
It's not going to be better. It's not. The value is actually not going to be better. Once he gets that market share from failure, it's actually going to be worse because he's going to turn 27 in the middle of the season, and then after another disaster, I don't think it's going to improve. So I would consider selling Terry McLaurin. I mean, his ADP says that you can sell him. I mean, his ADP, I just talked about this yesterday with Dynasty Island, Rich, who is at DLF, and he's lower on Terry McLaurin than I am. I have Terry McLaurin at wide receiver 24. He has him at wide receiver 29. So even in Dynasty, even lower than me. But, in an ADP, he comes in at 38 overall. I have him at 51, so a whole round later. So his ADP says that there are still believers. But you also have to have one in your league because ADP, remember, is just a representative of what the person who likes that player the most thinks. So that person might not exist in your league, unfortunately.
Shane, Eric asked me this every week about newborn. You have any tips or tricks for newborns?
No, man. Just I'll say this because my kids are now 13 and we'll say 10. He's probably 10. And I actually just drove past their daycare today. Honestly, they don't get there anymore. But you know what I mean, where they went when they were babies. And what I'll say is, man, that time goes so fast. You have no idea. Like you look up and next thing you know, your kids have mustaches and they're little people, like full-sized humans. So even the bad moments, the so-called bad moments when your kids are keeping you up all night or you have to bathe them for the 3rd time that day because they just pooped all over everything, you're going to miss it. So like don't get too angry at it and don't wish it away. You don't get time back, man. That's all I'd really say is just cherish the time you have with them because it goes fast.
The days are long, but the years are definitely short. And yeah, that's very similar to something I've said. I'll give because I've said a bunch of them. This is going to be and
smoke weed. Weed.
A little
further
down in the weeds here, but like if you can work it out where you change a lot of the diapers in the first 6 weeks and can work it out to where you don't have to change as many after that, that is the trade you make. There is something in it in the first 6 weeks that it's not as messy or disgusting as it is later on. So there you go. That is a real actionable thing you can do.
Well, you know what it is? Because after about 1, they're taking real human-sized poops, and then you're like, this is just ridiculous. Like, why is this a thing? Like, why am I changing another human? Like, why is this human just pooping on themselves and they're okay with it? Like, this is unacceptable. Like, in nowhere in nature is this okay, except for, humans. So, yeah, I like that.
In case the people are wondering, I'm too busy taking care of my patrons to have any kids.
Marcus this is his roster right here. You can look at it right there on your screen. And doesn't really have much of a bench. Has the 2022 107, 2023 first. Keep the picks or go all in. I guess more just from a strategic standpoint. Is this the way you would be thinking about your picks?
So he might not like this, but I'm assuming it's a super flex. I don't really know that you're all in material with Trey Lance and T-Law. And don't take that personal because I loved both those guys coming out. But they both hurt me deeply last year. You got 223 first. I mean, honestly, I might look to see if I can pivot off of T-Law, throw in a first and see if someone else in my league still believes with them and I can get an actual legitimate like stud quarterback.
You might be able to do that with me.
Yeah. Do that with Carp. Quite honestly, I'm not a big fan of Antonio Gibson.
We don't want
after Washington.
We don't Gibson and Dobbins, those two. We don't want. I don't approve of them because I think that they're going to lose some value this year, especially Gibson. Gibson, I'm just done with.
There's my advice, man. Take T-Law and a first, 2023 first, and go get yourself one of them fancy quarterbacks, one of them Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray type peoples.
But this team is a contender. I mean,
no. I'm not saying it's not bad at all. You got you got Justin Jefferson and Jamar. Like there's weeks where you're just going to beat everyone to death because your wide receivers drop
wide
90
receiver
points.
1, 2, and 4.
And
Javonte. So.
Yeah. No. It's not bad, but I just don't want him to overstate where he's at. With the
this honestly looks like a team I could have if I drafted it last year. If I drafted, this is a team I could have, a team I would have drafted with all these young players. Honestly,
yeah, I have a lot of T-Law. I don't want to talk about it.
Would you trade Gibson for Kamara?
Yes, but I'd rather do something else.
Yeah,
have Kamara ranked higher if that's what you're asking.
I'll defer. I probably I'll go ahead.
Yeah, not that you would necessarily, I guess, but if Gibson comes out and it really isn't great, like his value's going to tank. People are
same. I mean,
yeah, but here's the thing. So even if Alvin Kamara runs for 2,000 yards next season,
his value's still going to go down.
He's a 27-year-old running back. Like, you know what I mean? Like Derrick Henry, like, I don't know, what did he run for? Like 3,000 yards and his ADP dropped the next season. I mean, and it should have because he turned 28 or whatever. So I understand it. It's just, that's not the pivot you ever want to make as a running back to an old running back.
No,
like, God,
you're clearly buying into the rest of Kamara's career if you do a move like that. Like, you're not doing it because you're going to flip him later or something like that. But like, it's when you've got Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, I feel like you're in a championship window and should.
Well, I mean, the window with those two is honestly, if you're not moving those guys, which I would hope you're not, your window's a lot longer because they're wide receivers and they're both 13 years old. So your window is pretty long there. Like AJ Brown at 24 is the old man of the crew. You know what I mean? You're good there. I don't want to pivot from running back to running back. I don't want to do it, and you can't make me. I don't care how nice your hair is.
Let's see. Jordan Clark trade away Antonio Gibson for the 107 in a 10-team 1 QB. Figured that was probably the best deal I could get for him. That's what, Chris Olave there?
Yeah, you know what's different in a 10-team 1 QB and Superflex draft this year?
Almost nothing.
Literally nothing, dude. Yeah, you're fine. You did good.
It's fine. I mean, Gibson's ADP is significantly higher than Olave's, so in theory, you should have gotten more. But
I haven't looked at the ADP. I'm assuming that bakes in Brian Robinson being drafted there in the 3rd round.
Yeah, it's May's ADP.
Yeah. All right.
Well, and that was done before Jarvis Landry signed.
People are not paying attention then. Okay.
FF Lefty is excited to hang out. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. No? Was there okay.
Most of what I say are non sequiturs, so you can cut me off at any time. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I do think that Antonio Gibson's ADP is far too high and Chris Olave's is too low. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Looks like we scared the failure out of Ja Webb. I think that's probably what he meant there. He says, who is your wide receiver 1 in the class? Since I'm sure I won't get Walker at the 103, I think he might be there. I feel like he's been falling into the 103, 104, 105 range more often recently.
Oh, my 101? I'm sorry. I spaced out. Mine is Garrett Wilson. I've been pretty steadfast in that since at least 3-4 weeks now. Oh, it's Garrett Wilson.
3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, I was big on Treylon Burks, and then I gravitated to Garrett Wilson and slammed him into my one hole.
Are you worried about the reports about Burks being like out of shape and fat and
no
whatever else they're saying about him?
So we were talking about this in my Dynasty Trade HQ patron chat, and I feel better now that I don't think he has asthma. I was a little concerned when I thought he had a lung disease. He's just kind of fat. Like, all right, you can work through that. You know what I mean? Like, look, if I would have just gotten drafted at 18 overall in the NFL draft, there's a pretty good chance that I might have gone and partied for a little bit. You know what I mean? Just a slight chance as a 22-year-old newly multimillionaire. I might have lived it up for a couple weeks, and my first rookie minicamp probably wouldn't have been my best.
It's true. Tyler, are you still Drake London?
No, I've always been Garrett Wilson.
Okay.
I was never Drake London.
A lot of people are London, though.
I am aware of that.
He is going first in the ADP. I've seen him go a lot. Is it just you guys both think Wilson is a better prospect?
I think he's more complete, and look, I definitely bought more in the Drake London, but I still have this fear of like, why can't you get away from anyone? But overall, I just think it's Garrett Wilson is the more complete receiver.
I agree.
Mark came in 101 and 107 for Lamb and Elijah Moore.
Lamb and Moore.
So we're talking Breece Hall. This is the only time I get horny for running backs is the rookie drafts. I need you to know that.
Breece Hall and Olave, maybe something like that.
Yeah, I'll take Lamb and Moore.
Can we make it? How about Jameson? No, I don't know.
Even if it were Jameson Williams, I'd still take Lamb and Moore.
I'm gonna have to think about that and get back to you. But I'm very much leaning the 101 side because I'm a very big fan of Halls.
Tyler's the opposite of big failure. We agree around here, obviously.
Well, now that Mr. Musk decided to give me my Twitter account back, so to put it back to normal, I feel like I have opportunities for success.
Very good. Tanner Carr says he has the 202, 207, and 211 in one QB. How should I package to move up? What pick would you give up for 2 or all of those picks? I don't know how high you can get, even if you pick all 3 of those together. How high do you think you could reasonably get?
111.
Yeah. Which I don't know.
Yeah, like it's not worth it. Like the prospect you're getting at 111, you're better off taking multiple shots at 202 and 207. 211 is just whatever. But honestly, just stick it to 202, 207 unless someone in your unless someone in your league is just gonna just give you all right, well, 2 is more than 1, so yeah, here's the 105. It's not gonna happen.
What do you think, Tyler?
I can't imagine that I'm going to like the trade up.
Yeah, I can't either.
You're not.
Let's see. Yeah, because I don't know. Nicholas is a big fan of yours, Shane. Watches the Trades in 5 all the time.
Appreciate it. Check us out on the TikToks.
Oh, really? You're on TikTok?
And Instagram.
Love it. Dustin Ross, 12 teams, Superflex, half PPR, Dynasty got Chase, sent Fields, Schultz, 2024 second, and a 2023 first. Also, I have these people nervous about Fields. Let me hear it.
Jason Fields, Schultz. I mean, you just got the wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2 at first. If you're being pedantic, if you really want to be argumentative, you could be like, he's the wide receiver 2. I'm fine with that. If I'm trading Fields, like this is a return that I want. I sincerely could care. Oh, that 23 first. Oof.
23 first is worth a lot.
Oof. Oof.
This is a little, I mean, for me, this is like a little unnecessary. I believe I was asked about this question when it was just Fields in the 23 first, and I said, go ahead with it. I don't remember being seeing this version.
Let me say this, Tyler. So Schultz in the 24-second shouldn't move the needle that much unless you were already wavering. Like, damn, that's pretty close to being.
It does move. Well, I'm the kind of person where every little bit counts.
Okay.
I'm a very, very tough negotiator.
All right.
So those things like that often do move the needle for me.
I could be honest with you. I'm not in love with it because of the 2023 first and Fields. I feel like
I really don't want Fields at all.
No, but the Fields should still get me back a pretty significant piece on his own.
Realistically, this is probably one of those offers. If I have Chase and I'm offered this, I don't want it. I don't want this offer. It's not good enough. I'm not going to sell Chase to take on assets that I don't want. But in reverse, I probably would rather just sell Fields, not give up a 23 first, and just, trade Fields differently. Because I think I can get more value for Fields comparatively wise instead of trading him with a 23 first for Chase. I think I can just get more value by just selling Fields than doing this. So doubt I make this trade either way.
The DLF trade analyzer, just I wanted to plug it in there just to see, and even with the package adjustment on, still likes the side with Fields the first, the second, and Schultz.
That's not a surprise.
Yeah, and I mean, look, if you're making this trade, you can't expect to win on any calculator. Like, there's no calculator that you're going to use. Like, I could use a brain calculator, and you're still not going to win. You're not going to win that way. You got to look at this as like, well, is this worth it to me? Is this worth it to my roster based off my construction? Am I deep enough at quarterback that I can survive this? Am I deep enough at the picks that I can survive this? Clearly, Schultz doesn't matter to you because you have Andrews. Also, we got to start. You got to let us know how many you start in leagues like this too, because that also has a very big impact on these trades. I'm not going to say, Dustin, you made a significant error. It's just probably I wouldn't have been able to pull the trigger on this, but that's me.
Trevon Bulger, would you trade 2 2023 picks? I'm assuming these are first because he says first, here.
Otherwise,
yeah. But not for Najee Harris. One could be early. What do you think, Tyler?
I mean, I guess he's worth it, but I can't imagine that I would ever do it.
No, I'm not doing that. Get out of here. Look, either of those 2023 firsts are going to be better than Najee Harris. I'm already banking on it. Like, I could be wrong, obviously. But, that could be Bijan Robinson and Jamar Gibbs that you just gave up for Najee Harris, who will be in his age 26 season in 2023 when Bijan Robinson and the other kid, Jahmyr Gibbs, are going to be like 19 years old. I'm not exactly
don't forget about the quarterbacks.
I'm assuming this is Superflex. I'm just assuming this is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If it's not, I still don't change my mind. I'm still not giving up 223 first for Najee. And look, I still think he's a top 5 running back next year. It's just that's how good that class is. And also, he's a running back, bro.
If this is one QB, it's hard, considering that Najee Harris has an ADP of 4, to say that he's not worth 223 firsts. But,
Yeah, team context might matter here for me.
Look, I could defend it if you did it. It's not something like Tyler said. It's not something I would actually ever do. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's like against my religion to trade 2 first-round draft picks for a running back.
I don't think I would. You'd never see me do this either.
Right. Now, if it's Jonathan Taylor, I could go.
If it's Jonathan Taylor, I would do it, but that's not the same thing.
Yeah. It's like JT's here and then.
Yeah.
Nicholas wants to know how his draft looks. You got a quick grade for it? He got Wilson. He got Walker at
107. Well, I give that an A. Pickens at 109. I give that an F. Zamir White at 202. Another F. David Bell at 209.
I like
we'll give that. That's like a good. That's good. Mm-hmm. Whatever. Khalil Shakir at 303. Nah. And Justin Ross at 310. No. So, yeah, I'll give this a C-.
All right, bro. I'm going to give you a B because what really truly matters is the 103 Garrett Wilson, the 107 Kenny Walker, who fell to you. I don't know why, because apparently that league hates running backs, or maybe they don't start running backs. Maybe there's no starting slots for running backs. So if that's the context, please let me know that.
Yeah, I've never seen him go below 103, really. So
that is ridiculous. I mean, George Pickens, whatever. I like Bell at 209. I really do. Zamir White kind of early, right?
Yeah, no, George. I would literally give the picks of Pickens and White. I would give those both an F. Yeah. They're really bad picks.
But look, what wins? Look, anyone outside of the first round is a crap. I don't want to say crapshoot. It's about a 25 to 30% hit rate. So I expect those to fail anyway. So you shot some upsides with George Pickens, fine. Then you shot like David Bell is actually, Michael Thomas reincarnate.
I'd rather have David Bell than Zamir White.
I mean, look, the Zamir White pick, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a fan of it. I'm a fan of it there.
I'm a harsh critic.
Like, Zamir White at 303.
I am on my Patreon. I'm even harsher.
I love Zamir White at 303. Like, that's a great
That would be much better.
Yeah. At 202, you definitely had some meat on the bone there. So, yeah, that's why I gave him a B, though. Because, look, the top part, really good. That Zamir White pick really hurts things, though.
And it's hard to give Garrett Wilson at 103, like, an A, though. Like, it's not really value.
Well, here's the thing, though. You got to make – sometimes it's more important to make the right pick than being smarter than the room. You know what I mean? Which we've seen – apparently people in this draft were smarter than the room if they let Kenny Walker fall to 107.
That is a very odd thing. Like I said, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
Ja Webb says his running backs JT, Gibson, Dobbins, Edwards. I assume it's Edwards. No, Gus Edwards. Okay. Gus Edwards. Pollard. Should be concerned. If you think you have enough running backs, the answer is always no. But you have JT, so that's good.
I'm not concerned. This is fine.
Do you have picks? Do you have picks you can trade for spot starters in the season? As long as you do, you're good. As long as you got third rounders and fourth rounders and you can flip those for a guy, you're good.
Mark Jankowski, what a nice surprise with Shane. The show is a 3-headed monster. People do like the 3-person format here, Shane.
All right. I mean, I guess I'll be on every week now. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not on I think I'm on I have like OCD, so I got to see how many podcasts, YouTube shows I'm actually on. If it's an odd number, I might hit you guys up.
The thing is, Tyler, we are like now somehow an hour behind. We've only gotten to 8:05, 9:05.
Cal, that's literally every week.
Well, that's why Tyler has a
that's right
article every week.
It's also why you can I have Twitter. Like you can ask the question but we've always completed the questions.
Oh, all right. Let's all right. One word answers.
AJ Brown is an Eagle.
Good.
I would say that it could be better, but I think he'll still be good.
I want to use this question to say, are there any people at the end of your draft you have intentionally made waiver claims for? Like, is there anybody falling out of the 5 rounds that you're targeting in your rookie drafts?
I mean, Kyron Williams is drafted in almost every draft.
Yeah, I think I just drafted. I did draft him in the 5th round in a couple leagues, to be honest with you. But
he usually doesn't slip through because people know his name.
Yeah. Look, any of those running backs, Ty Chandler, Kyron Williams, Ty Chandler, Kevin Harris, Tyler Beatty, however you say it. Kennedy Brooks has probably been the guy. That's the guy that's really making it through a lot of them. And I've been picking him up all over the place, mostly because of the situation.
But yeah, of these, the only one that I have really any confidence in having any role ever is Kyron Williams. The other ones are a desperation player at best.
I like Zaquandre White. That's the one that I hope he makes it there
more. Not after they signed Sony Michel.
No, he's just fun, and I'm rooting for him. So, Mark Galagos.
Yes.
Trade Gabe Davis for Jahan Dotson.
Yes.
I'll take Jahan Dotson.
Yes.
Me too.
One's a first round draft pick. The other dude was a late round.
Had one good game on the playoffs. Yeah.
Maybe a strange question, says Seth, but it came up in a trade today. What is the value of Fab in a 12-team, 18-man roster? This, I think, is actually an underrated move that you can make with some of these people on your roster that you can't get rid of, is trying to acquire more Fab for that early season, go all in to try to get the hot name off the waiver wire or whatever. Like, I think this is something that actually could create value in your team.
Also, 18 roster spots is very short. So the odds that there's a player on waivers is much higher.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. So do you have like a rule of thumb for value for Fab? I don't think this has been explored enough in the Dynasty.
Trading away picks to get Fab.
If anyone's taking my 3rd and 4th round picks, I'll trade them for Fab. Look as shallow as this league is. There's going to be dudes that are getting cut for rookies because people are going to be like, "Oh, it's the new hotness." If they say, I don't know if kids still say that.
I had, you're talking to the person. I had, I believe, 12 3rd and 4th round picks this year, and I have one of my leagues. I have 16 next year. So I think I see it a little differently.
Tough question to answer with 12-team, 1 QB league, a fair offer for Joe Mixon?
To acquire Mixon, I'm not going to do that. To trade Mixon away, I mean, his ADP says that he's worth a lot still. I would try to pivot down to a younger wide receiver, like either one of the drafted guys like Wilson, London, or Burks, or maybe someone like Michael Pittman. And then something else. I mean, that's what the ADP says you should get, but I don't know if you can.
I didn't hear the first part of the question. I don't even know what you're trading for.
Trading for Mixon doesn't want to make an offer that it seems foolish.
What's a fair offer for Mixon? I mean, this is kind of, we went back. I don't want to trade for a running back right now. Stop trading for running backs in the summer. Just chill out, bro.
Yeah, I can't imagine that I will ever pay whatever the price is to acquire Joe Mixon. So I just took it as I'm trading the other side of the question. What if I have Joe Mixon and trading him away?
Can you trade Darnell Mooney for him? Trade Darnell Mooney for him.
Okay, I would do that.
I would trade that tier of wide receiver for Joe Mixon.
I don't think that's going to happen, though.
If they're going to do it, we got to tell them to do it responsibly. It's like sex and condoms, you know?
Texas Trill has the 201 in a rookie superflex. Would you rather go with the Pickens Dotson range, which I know how Tyler's going to feel about that, or grab one of the B tier running backs, which I assume is like Rashad White, or maybe James Cook is still on the board? Probably not.
No, Cook won't be there.
Damian Pierce, maybe.
I guess I'll go with Dotson then.
Yeah, I'm going Dotson. If you want to go another way because you want to switch it up, or if you're a portfolio player and you've drafted Jahan Dotson in 15 straight drafts, feel free to go after Rashad White. I am not drafting Kenny Pickens that high unless it's absolutely necessary. And I had to do that the other day in the league, and I gotta be honest with you, it didn't feel good. I'm still showering to get those effects of drafting Kenny Pickett where I did off of me.
Vic, with high praise here, Tyler and Shane. Wow. I'm going to try not to take this offensively that I was not included in this. Tyler and Shane, wow.
This happens on my show.
Thank you so much. All right, Vic, I see how it is.
Cal showed up, huh?
Yeah. I'm just, whatever. I'm here. Louis Sandoval, what's a fair offer? Oh, we did this one. Yeah. Gonna send my team's next message. When's my window to compete? Rebuilding team, and this is his team. That's a tough question right here, Nicholas. We're gonna get to that. Send it on Twitter. Mark wants to know if Jimmy G's odds of starting anywhere in 2022.
I think they're pretty high, honestly.
Yeah, he had a shoulder surgery already, right? Finally.
Yeah.
Unlike the Browns, the 49ers have a $25 million of incentives to remove Jimmy Garoppolo from their roster, whereas the Browns have no incentive to do anything with Baker Mayfield. So there's no way that Jimmy Garoppolo, who is already mad at the 49ers, he's not going to take a pay cut and they're not going to pay him $25 million to be there. So he's going to be somewhere else. And I still think, I wrote this in the last article, I'll say it again, I still think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to start for the Panthers. Baker Mayfield's going to start for the Seahawks. Still think that.
I wouldn't mind him starting for the Panthers. I'd be okay with that. I'm gonna put it.
Matt Corral's job is on the line. You think he's going to put his job in the hands of Sam Darnold and Matt Corral?
So here's the thing, though. We always talk about how people's jobs are on the line. Like we think that's going to make them smarter and better decision makers. The reason their job's on the line, they've been very bad at it so far.
No, what I mean by that is they're going to trade away next year's capital that they're not going to see unless they have shown improvement this year.
I honestly, I think if he was that concerned, I think he would have went with Kenny Pickett, because I don't know that Kenny Pickett is that much of a downgrade, or if a downgrade at all from Jimmy Garoppolo. But I'm going to give, because I don't want to be the mushy mouth guy that's like, oh, 50-50. So I'm going to go 40% that he starts. It's close, but there's definitely a world I can see where he ends up just riding a bench for someone.
Tyler, since you hate Elon Musk and Twitter, why don't you direct your followers to ask you a question in the comment section of your YouTube channel?
Who said I hated Twitter?
Yeah, Tyler doesn't hate Twitter. Tyler loves Twitter.
Oh, okay. I definitely was frustrated with Twitter after they hid my account and did all those weird things to my account this week. I don't hate Twitter. I will say, and I said this on my show yesterday, I say it again, the days where I'm going to answer as many questions on Twitter as I did, and, just kind of do a lot of that stuff, all those threads. Unfortunately, I think those days are in the past. This was probably one of the happiest mental weeks I've ever had when I was banned from leaving a lot of comments and replies and stuff. So I think that's trying to tell me something. So I don't think we're going to be returning to that. But I don't hate Twitter or anything. I just
hate Elon Musk. That's all.
No, Elon Musk, whatever. I don't know how to Elon Musk.
Caleb has a mistake here. We need to let him know how big of a mistake he made. Traded Najee Harris for Dalvin Cook, 19, 21, a 2023 first, and a second.
That's not really a mistake.
Just no way I'm trading Najee for this package.
Why not?
Yeah, well, we literally just yelled at someone and berated them for saying that they would
23 first, a second. Yeah, you're getting Dalvin Cook I don't want, but you're getting a 23 first, a second, 2 late seconds this year, and then Cook is not worthless. So this is not a mistake.
You done good, Caleb. I actually
I don't see this as a mistake.
Look, this is a process trade, right? You're pivoting down at running back and getting a first rounder with it.
We talked about not being tepid on trading 2 firsts for Najee, but Dalvin Cook, a second and 2 late seconds this year is better than 1 single first next year.
19 and 21 mean almost nothing.
No, they don't mean almost nothing.
And Dalvin is I don't know. We're not even sure he's going to play. He's untradeable on your roster.
He's not untradeable.
I have him in the DLF podcast league. I cannot give him away.
Send me an offer. We'll talk. Well, now that I know that you'll take just about anything, I'll send you an offer.
Yeah.
I need a quarterback.
I don't think this is a big mistake. You got a 23 first, and you are going to have good production at running back this year. So I can't say that that's a blunder. 23 firsts are good.
Do what Nicholas says. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, fellers. Dan Arnold or Donald Parham?
Who cares?
Parham,
but who cares?
Oh, give me Dan Arnold.
I'm not answering this.
Which side are you on? Asked Tanya. Stacked the wide receiver Metcalf for 2023 first, second, third, and rookie running backs Ingram, Ford, and Brooks.
Yeah, the Metcalf.
Yeah, Metcalf's dropped a little bit in my eye since last year, but not that much. He's still not a wide receiver I'm giving up for a singular first.
Ridley Truther, welcome to the show. Appreciate good seeing you. Heck of a crew tonight. He says, would you guys take Sky Moore over Gallup, Christian Kirk in a startup?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And yes.
Joe Mixon and a 2024 first, or Swift and a second?
Oh man,
in 2023.
So far away. God I gotta stay true to the process and stick with. I'll take Mixon in the first.
Swift.
This is another one of those trades I'm never making. If I have Mixon in a first, I'm not paying a first to do it. If I have Swift in a second, that offer isn't good enough. So never making this trade. So whatever side you have, don't do it.
Dynasty strategy question: 2 super flex spots. Must start 2 tight ends. I have no first round pick. Does this mean a quarterback and then 2 super flex spots, or is it 2 super flex spots?
I think it's 2 super flex spots.
Should I still go best player available or hammer QB inside in the entire draft?
I mean, tight end is important in a 2 tight end.
It gets really, really depressing when you're drafting. I'm assuming, is this for the rookie draft, Matthew? Am I the only one that's confused and misinterpreting that?
He didn't say.
I'm assuming startup, just because he wants to know about what his strategy should be for the league. So I assume doesn't have any years under their belt yet.
Yeah, this question is vague. Like,
I'm thinking it's a rookie because he says he has no first round draft pick, and he didn't let. I don't know what you did here. I'm assuming it's rookie. 2 super flex. No, I'm not slamming the quarterbacks because they're trash in this class. And 2 tight ends. I tell you what, I might overdraft Trey McBride in this draft.
I'm fine with that. Yeah. But
go best player available.
Yeah, if I were in a 2 quarterback league, I would create a ranking system for that.
Mm-hmm.
Or not 2 quarterback, 2 tight end. But I dislike 2 tight ends so much that I can't see myself creating a ranking system for that.
Nicholas wants to know about trading for Jahan Dotson. Benjamin with the perfect segue. Dotson plus 2023 third or Carter plus a 23 second. Is that his value?
I mean, honestly, like that's probably
Michael Carter.
That's probably relatively fair, but I would lean Jahan Dotson there.
I'm slam dunking except on that Jahan Dotson side.
Yeah, me too. Scuba Steve, as a contender, how many firsts would it take to move off of Jonathan Taylor?
If you're a contender, I don't know why you would want to move off Jonathan Taylor.
Look, so there's always this process, right, where you always move off of specifically a running back at their peak, right? And yeah. I understand that. So it would take 2 firsts and a running back. We're probably talking like Dalvin Cook-ish, Joe Mixon-ish level. So I don't know if they're going to be willing to do that or not, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, for me, it's not a number of firsts. It's going to take 2 very significant players. Like, if I could move off Jonathan Taylor for, I don't know, AJ Brown and Breece Hall. How about that? I might do, but there's no number of firsts.
What if you're not a contender?
If I'm not a contender, then I would try to go. I mean, the first thing I would try to do is trade him for Chase or Jefferson plus. That's the first thing I would try to do. If that won't work, then I would just go down and look at like, can I get like T Higgins and 2 firsts for Taylor? That's pretty good.
10 team, 2 QB Mixon for Terry McLaurin in the 2-4.
I just don't want Terry McLaurin. So I actually think, even though I don't really want Mixon either, I feel like Mixon is worth more than that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I probably hold whatever side I'm on, to be quite honest with you. There's not enough of a value difference in the 2 players.
That's one of the ones where if I'm a contender, I'm okay giving McLaurin in the 204 for Mixon. If I think I'm okay with that. McLaurin's not that young. If I'm a contender and I need a running back, I'm fine with that. If I have Mixon, I'm not doing this. I want more or something else.
Would you trade a potentially late 2023 first for DJ Moore or Terry McLaurin?
Moore, yes. McLaurin, no.
I concur.
Agreed. Let's see. I'm going to skip around a little bit here. 12-team Superflex 108, 308 for 2023 first and Van Jefferson.
23 first, easily.
Yeah, I was on the fence, but then I saw Van Jefferson, and I was like, slam.
Yeah, Van Jefferson is such a big deal.
Any dynasty value for Jarvis Landry being with the Saints?
Well, I did a video on my channel about Jarvis Landry. It's only 60 seconds, so it's very short. But I think the more interesting part of this question is that Michael Thomas is not ready. So he's not ready. It's been now 2 years. It's been a very long time. So why is he not ready? Why is it taking 2 years? Why is there another delay? The coach, Dennis Allen, said that Michael Thomas is not ready to participate in the offseason programs. It seems like there are more hurdles he needs to clear. So that sounds very bad. What has he been doing for 2 years? How is it taking this long? So I don't think that Michael Thomas is going to be healthy. I actually think he's not going to be healthy. So if he's not healthy and he never plays, then Jarvis Landry could have some value. But I'm not honestly overly excited just because he's already 29. I think his ceiling is like wide receiver 30. So like that just doesn't do anything for me. That's what we call a roster clogger.
Yeah, I was just looking at his target share. He was fifth, going back 3 years. He was fifth in the league, 17th and 18th, and he still was terrible. I mean, terrible is a relative word. He was a wide receiver 3 and a wide receiver 2 in one of those years. No, I don't see it. I mean, he'd have to go back to the old days in Miami where he's getting 30% target shares, and even then, he would just be pushing top 15 production. And I don't see that happening.
Assuming that Thomas plays, I have Jarvis Landry in redraft ranked as wide receiver 49. If Thomas did not play, even then, I still think Jarvis wouldn't be top 30. He'd probably be around, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, he'd be around 39, 40. So still, if you're not even a wide receiver 3 in redraft and you're already 29 years old, you don't have dynasty value.
Yeah, and look, if you haven't had any rookie drafts yet, and you have Jarvis Landry on your roster, go ahead and try to trade him for any second and see.
I think that's even shooting.
Well, no. But I'm saying do that, and that'll let you know what his dynasty value is perceived as in the community.
Yeah, you won't be able to do no. When you're unable to do that, you will realize that. But if you want to trade it, maybe you can actually trade. How about this? Package Jarvis Landry with maybe a mid-third this year for a second next year. If there's someone likes on the clock, how about that? That is actually something I think you might be able to do.
Here's some from the trade finder: Jarvis Landry or a 2023 third.
That's okay. I mean, if you're rebuilding, sure, I'll take a third for him if it's that or nothing.
Yeah, at least you get the available roster spot.
Yeah, if it's that or nothing. If I'm rebuilding and it's that or nothing, I'll take the third. If that's the context.
This one seems easier: Jarvis Landry and a 2023 third for 201.
Oh, 201. 201. Yeah, 201. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Jarvis Landry or 302?
I'll take 302. I think the 302 is, does it say Superflex or 1 QB?
It is a 1 QB.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's good enough.
Okay. Thoughts on Tua? Are you with the first highlight video that shows him seemingly underthrowing Tyreek Hill, or the follow-up one that seems to have him hitting everyone in stride?
Is anybody actually changing his value based on these videos?
No.
I should hope.
But Twitter thinks they are.
No.
Tua is just okay. I think he's just okay. I don't think he's not bad. I think that he's one of the best 32 quarterbacks on planet Earth, but he's not exciting. I think realistically, I know Miami wants to get a new quarterback in there, but I think they're going to be way too good to be able to do. The team is pretty stacked overall. They're not going to have a top 5 pick. So I think that they're going to continue with Tua. But honestly, I think if you're lucky, Tua gives you Kirk Cousins' career. That's the best case scenario, I think that's what you want. That's what you're hoping for. And the downside is
I don't even know what the downside is, because not many quarterbacks that are perform worse than that actually retain jobs for that long. So the downside is that he just isn't that and doesn't retain the job. But I think,
do you remember when the Rams fired Jeff Fisher and all of a sudden Jared Goff was like, everybody wanted Jared Goff, and he all of a sudden had all this dynasty value, and then everybody realized like, oh, that's just because Sean McVay's smart. I think that's going to happen with Tua this year. I think Tua's all of a sudden people are going to remember the pedigree.
The thing with Jared Goff is people were still cautious. They still didn't rank him that high because it was obvious that Jared Goff was not the reason why things were going, and situations can change. And then, once he left, he wasn't that good. I mean, Jared Goff really never made it past QB 11, QB 12 in rankings. And honestly, that's where Kirk Cousins would have been if he had started his breakout at a much younger age, but he didn't become relevant until he was like 27 or 28. So he didn't have that opportunity to have that value curve. But right now, I mean, I don't ever see Tua being valued above that area where you said Jared Goff, you mentioned him as an example. I think even if Tua does what you're saying, he still won't be ranked as, he just doesn't run anymore. He's not going to be a dynasty quarterback 1. He doesn't run and he doesn't have the high end passing ceiling. How is he going to be a dynasty quarterback 1? He just can't be. Won't happen.
I don't remember what year that was. I was trying to go back and look at the ADP.
No, Jared Goff, I remember it well. He topped out around quarterback 10 to 12. He never made it much above that.
Looks like QB 9. He was going just after Patrick Mahomes in 2018.
So yeah, quite a long time ago.
But before Prescott, before
there was a time where Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston were top 5 quarterbacks. I mean, mistakes are made all the time.
But I think he's going to have a year where his value jumps, because I believe in the coaching staff and the weapons that he's got, and I think people are gonna.
Things have changed, though. Things have changed. The quarterback landscape is less wide open than it was at the top. The top of quarterbacks has a new generation of young stud quarterbacks that are entrenched. Like Justin Herbert is not going anywhere. We're not going to see Joe Burrow removed from the top tier of rankings anytime soon.
25-year-old Carson Wentz was the QB2 that year.
Right. But what I'm saying is you have Allen, you have Herbert, you have Mahomes, you have to some extent Lamar, Kyler, and Burrow, and then even Dak is not going anywhere with his contract. And then Watson, who we can't forget about. The top tier, those guys are all drafted in the last 5 to 6 years, and they're extremely entrenched at the top. Whereas back when you're talking about, we had the older generation of quarterbacks kind of right on their way out the door. And there were a lot of quarterback drafts over those few years, like 2011, 2012, 2013, where they just didn't have quarterbacks that were any good come in outside of Andrew Luck, who ended up retiring. So there was a vacuum at the top of quarterback drafts, but that vacuum no longer exists. So the ceiling for someone like Tua, who clearly doesn't present any rushing ceiling and doesn't present a high-end passing ceiling, is minimal.
Scott Connor says Shane looks like he's not aging very well himself.
That's just mean.
That's mean.
Yeah, that's my co-host. Jesus.
What's meaner, this or someone like the comment about how excited they are and thankful for seeing Tyler and Shane?
I don't know if being omitted, like you're not even a human being, is better. So
I get a lot of there are a lot of questions on the show that are like Tyler this or Tyler that.
Right.
That does happen all the time.
So this is an interesting, maybe you can sum your answers up, but this is, I think, an interesting, like, what do you do if there's a super stack team in your league that you've got no chance of really taking down right now? Like they are, this doesn't look quite as stacked as some of the ones that I've had, but like, I'm in some that have like those monster teams. What do you do? How do you try to attack that?
Impervious at all.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just keep building my team how I was going to build it anyway. Like, am I a contender? Like, am I in my window where I'm going to win? Do I need to reload? What, like, so I rarely look at other teams in the league except for trades.
I'm with you.
Honestly, I don't give a shit because we've all won championships and looked back at a roster and gone, how did that team win? Like, that makes no sense to me.
Well, the one thing I might do is I might use like a Fantasy Pros power ranking or league analyzer tool. Specifically, the redraft. The Dynasty one is useless, but the redraft version of that is actually very helpful because that stacks you up. Because, you know, as Dynasty analysts, we don't have a tool like that at DLF. That stacks you up redraft against your league, not Dynasty, redraft. So it actually can help you. A tool like that can help you visualize how you stack up for this incoming year and kind of where you might fall in the playoff ranking. But it's not like I don't click further than I don't look, well, this roster has this. Like, that's just way more work. I might look at where I fall on the list, but not, I don't worry about one specific team like that.
No.
I'm going to summarize this question. In a Superflex tight end 2 PPR, take Hawk at 5'11". Is that good value?
2 points for tight end, yeah.
Yes, you done good.
That's good value. Yeah. I would not put tight end.
Would you trade 107 and the 302 for a 2023 first?
Well, if the top 6 players will be gone, assuming that's the case, then yes.
There's Scott. Scott is basically all in on 2023.
Yeah, I don't agree. Okay, here's why I don't agree. So bring that question back for a second. I don't agree because I know from most leagues, as someone who deals with probably the biggest variety of situations, you can get a 23 first plus for 102 95% of the time.
I just love the spelling of Terry McLaurin here.
Terry McLaurin. Yeah, McLaurin.
Not a fan. Not a
fan. And we've talked about Terry McLaurin quite a bit.
Yeah, we found
I'm
Peter's
okay with Terry McLaurin, but Terry McLaurin, hate that guy.
Oh, chlorine. Yeah, no, I don't like chlorine. Chlorine is a lot of pollution.
Yeah, it's Peter Howard's burner right there.
Oh my God.
AJ Brown for Higgins plus what?
Nothing. Whichever side I already have is the one I want.
I mean, I want AJ Brown straight up without a second thought. But if you're asking what the difference is, it's not much.
Yeah, maybe almost anything that they are. I mean, they're back to back in ADP. So
yeah, I would rather have AJ. I think that AJ Brown is. If I compare the two players, I think AJ Brown is far superior. But his situation is far worse. And he also is older. Although he's not old.
Scott likes Higgins more. Monty says zodiac signs are thousands of years old, just like him.
I said the 40s, roughly. So 40s.
So we were only about 950 years off.
Whatever. It's close.
I must have dreamed that they changed. I thought like 5 years ago they changed.
Are you talking about when Pluto was no longer a planet?
I don't know, man.
The zodiac sign.
Yeah, that
probably had
has
a dream
to do with the zodiac.
Yeah. I don't know. 14 team Superflex sending to 2023 first. Picks are going to be decent apparently. Carson Wentz for Lamar. Whoa, 2 first and Carson Wentz for Lamar Jackson.
All right, we don't need the rest of the question. This is not good enough. In a 14-team Superflex, Lamar Jackson is worth an incalculable amount. That's not what you're giving up. So, yeah, we'll definitely do that. We'll have to take Lamar Jackson just because quarterbacks. I mean, I always say in a 14-team Superflex, you add like 50% to the value of quarterbacks, except Carson Wentz. He actually doesn't get a value bump because he's so bad that he actually gets penalized.
Yeah, go get Lamar, bro.
Yeah.
Charles Chill in the chat. So Lamar for 220. Yes. Yeah, basically ignore Quinn. Trout. 8.76. What is RAS? What does that even mean?
Relative
score.
athletic score.
Everybody fell in love with that this year. That was the hotness this year that everybody was in love with.
Oh, am I the only one who just like doesn't pay attention to like what everyone else is doing?
I just noticed it because I noticed it. It's been out for a little bit. It's just that I noticed this year it seemed to like supernova, and everyone jumped on it.
I'll be honest. I got to the point where like my own following is big enough that I spend most of the time in my own talking about my analysis. So I end up on Twitter oftentimes in a little bit of a bubble.
I hear you.
The higher the RAS, does it help you get more targets? And if not, then
it does
no
not.
thanks.
That's the problem.
It did not. It has not helped Noah Fant.
It has not helped Troutman either. So, okay, Vic. Oh, Vic is back. Should I skip this one? No, I'll read it. 16 teams, PPR. Start one QB. Pick side, please. Pick a side, please. Brees Hall, 303, and a 2023 first, or Devontae Williams, 208, and a 2024 first.
Well, I just want that 23 first a lot more, so I'll take the Hall side with the 23 first.
Is that Javonte Williams?
Yeah, it's
gotta be
Williams.
Javonte. Yeah.
Okay, Javonte.
Either whatever Williams that is, I'm heavy on the Brees Hall side.
Yeah,
me too. Shame about Troutman. So much optimism. It's just unfounded. Like
we do this with tight ends all the time. If they're a little bit athletic, right, and they get 15 targets in their rookie season. The next year, we're like, no, you don't understand. Like he had a 5% target share on his routes. Like he's definitely going to blow up next year, and he's going to be the new tight end one. And it never happens. Like, and there's just a list of these guys that just like you could go back a decade, and you're like, oh yeah, I do remember him.
There are players
all excited.
who actually produced and players who didn't.
Pat
Freiermuth, for example, is a player who
Pat Freiermuth produced because he's so overvalued. He produced because he had an inordinate amount of touchdowns on receptions. That's not going to happen. But I'm saying we fall in love with these guys. Look, trust me, there's so many guys like Troutman every year. Like Kmet was the same year, I think. Are we still in love with Kmet, or did we move off of him? I forget.
No, we don't like him. But Pat Freiermuth at least did something. Like he had real receptions and real targets, whereas Cole Kmet had no receptions and no targets at all. So like there's a difference between those things. Like Pat Freiermuth had 60 receptions as a rookie. That's actually really good. For a rookie tight end,
no. I think
that's really good.
He had a good rookie season. It's just I think he's being overvalued because because of the touchdowns, which are going to regress.
We are thirsty for tight ends.
I actually think he's undervalued.
42 receptions in 28 games for Adam Troutman. That's what? Tell me what the
not good.
RAS score is on that.
Yeah,
it's 1.5 receptions per game, I think, something like that.
Patrick Pichette, Superflex PPR, Judy plus the 105, plus 2024 second, or Elijah Moore plus 107, plus Brian Edwards.
All right, so it's interesting.
I can't get anything for Brian Edwards.
I think I'm gonna take the Judy side here because I'd rather have the 105 over Elijah Moore. I do like Elijah Moore, but I'd rather have the 105. And then I'd rather have the 24 second over Edwards and by a lot. And then the Judy versus 107, that's either Olave or Pickett, and it's similar in value to Judy. Maybe a little bit better, but I'm still going to lean on the 105 is going to be a wide receiver that I'm going to like a lot better than Elijah Moore. Not a lot better, but like better.
Look, if it's on the clock, I have more confidence in saying, all right, I'll go Elijah Moore in the 107 because I've seen some strange things in rookie drafts. I've seen Garrett Wilson fall to 107. I've seen Chris Olave.
If I could get Garrett Wilson at 107, then I would agree with you.
But if I'm looking at
was going to be one of the 6 players I actually want, then I might want that side.
Yeah. Now, if it's Jameson Williams, then I'm like,
even if it's Jameson Williams, I'm more fine with that side. But unfortunately, there's really only 6 players I want. So
look, I like Elijah Moore a lot more than Jerry Jeudy. The 105, 107. I'm going to take Elijah Moore. Only thing is, I'm going to tell them to remove Brian Edwards from the trade.
That's an infest. The problem is that causes an infestation of failure.
Yeah, I need that off.
Infestation of failure. Accepting Brian Edwards onto the team really, I think, gets you into a bad habit as a dynasty manager because you've accepted failure.
Yeah.
I don't Can either of you confirm these are real people? Cade Otton and Daniel Bellinger?
They are real. Yeah, they are real people.
Should you be picking them up?
Well, I mean, no. But...
All right, Daniel Bellinger has what, 4th round draft capital, and in theory, he has an clear-ish path, except for Jordan Akins and Ricky Seals-Jones, who I love. Ricky Seals-Jones.
I didn't even know Jordan Akins was on the Giants.
Yeah, I forget why I know this. It's some sad reason.
I gotta remember that next time I'm on Dynasty game night.
There's no reason.
I do know that because I actually liked Jordan Akins at one point. And
I'm so sorry.
Still have him on.
Jordan Akins was one of those guys, by the way, that was part of that, the tight end.
I was always on Jordan Thomas.
He also
Haley Warring.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Daniel Bellinger.
Me too.
Yeah.
But if Rob Gronkowski retires, I would change my answer
Quickly.
Go with Cade Otton.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Duh. That's right. He was the one that went to Tampa Bay. Sure.
Cade Otton actually went before Daniel Bellinger in the draft. He went 6 picks earlier.
1 QB, 14 team league. Someone actually traded a 2023 first for Matt Ryan this year.
Wow.
Don't do that.
That's bad. That's really bad.
P to the R, which makes more sense for his name. I called him P2 Thar for too long. Taco Tuesday.
I like P2 Thar. Call him that.
Yeah.
Hello, gentlemen. Great to see you. Which side wins? 102, 302, Rashad Bateman and Boston Scott, who I think had 9 touchdowns last year or something ridiculous, for 2 2023 first and 23 second, likely all 8. I don't know why Boston Scott's even in this deal.
I'm taking the 23 first. I've got a brand and I'm sticking to it.
I'll take the 102 side.
The only way I'm taking the 102 side is if someone drafted, and this happened in one of my leagues, where someone
didn't draft
Breece Hall at 101, and I was like, "What? What? Yeah. Okay, thank you. It's my birthday."
Would you trade David Njoku for anything?
No, I'll hold on to Njoku there.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Trade that happened last night, a 1 QB, 12 team, DK Sanders, 2023 first for Swift and Komet.
Oh, so this was asked on Twitter. Yeah, this is a terrible trade. I take the DK side.
DK Metcalf?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a terrible trade.
Oh.
Yeah, this trade is terrible.
Are you still Walker at 102, Tyler?
Yes.
Shane, are you Wilson?
Yeah, I'm a Wilson guy. I have taken Walker at 102 again, portfolio player, because I'm in a few too many leagues, and I wanted to do the Hall Walker stack.
So, all right, let me ask you a question at the risk of making a very long question. I hear all the time, "Oh, I'm a portfolio player. I need this of this and this." Well, why not just take the players you like in the player you want in every draft?
Because even at your best, fantasy analysts are going to hit it about 60%, right? So really, really good ones might hit 60, 65, 70%. You're going to be wrong. So you're going to bake some of that into there, right? There could be injuries. There could be things outside of your control as well. But also, some leagues are scored differently, right? So if Kenneth Walker in a league, it's like PPC. All right, I like him over Wilson. Or if I'm drafting Walker because I know I can trade him later on, and I couldn't trade the pick for whatever reason. I guess I don't play. I barely play in any leagues at all. But even, when I'm helping patrons who have many, many leagues, I always tell them treat every league differently and just pick the players from my list in every league. So for the most part, I do. But there are, when I get too heavy on a specific player, I'm like, all right, I need to deviate a little bit, right?
I guess I'm just fine, because if I'm heavy on a specific player and that player hits, then there's an upside to that.
Yeah, and look, and that's worked well for me when I drafted. I don't know, let's say when I drafted Kyler Murray, right? Hey, that went really well. Did not go so well when I drafted Laquan Treadwell.
I just definitely want to note that I am not on the side of doing any of the portfolio stuff at all. I disagree with it. I just pick the player I would want from my list value-wise based on those league settings in any individual league. I don't I would never do something different in one league because I have too many shares in another. So for me, I would never, ever do that. And I don't recommend to anyone asking for my advice to ever do that. So I don't know if I've actually said that on the show, but I don't do that.
Are you trading out or down from the 102? I just haven't seen many of these go down in my league. I feel like people, wherever they are, if they're at 105, 106, they kind of feel like their guy might fall to them there anyway.
Now I've seen some trade ups for 102 for Walker specifically.
I honestly haven't seen a lot of 102. I've seen more 101 than 102 for some reason. I guess I really have no idea why that is. No, because I'm not drafting. Generally, I'm not drafting Walker at 102, and I know I don't need to draft Wilson at 102, so there's no reason for me to move up there. Like Wilson, I know I can get at 104 in most cases, so I'm just going to.
Well, then if you had the 102, though, wouldn't you want to move down?
I would try, but that's the thing is moving out. Moving out is I'm sorry, trading out or down.
Yeah,
I haven't been able to move out of picks that much.
Out is hard. Yeah, out is. I haven't seen a lot of out. Yeah. I've seen a lot of down though.
Down, it's hard to find that what I consider equal value. But yeah, if I'm moving a couple picks, sure.
For me, I have Walker, London, Wilson, and Burks essentially identical. So I've often recommended moves like 102 and 202, let's say, for there was one, I think it was 102 and 202 for 105 and 110. Because if I have everyone from 102 to 105 almost identical, but I don't think 110 and 202 are going to be identical. So, that's definitely the kind of thing I would recommend.
Okay. So Scott chimes in about liking Devin Singletary. I like this pivot because he's like dirt cheap right now. I like that. I like that Scott likes it because I've been liking it, and I think they want to give him the ball. I think they want to give him 15 touches a game probably. I don't think James Cook takes a lot of his carries, so I like it.
Nah,
nobody else is gonna like it. That's why I think it's a buy.
I am a fan of Devin Singletary. The problem is the Bills are not. I don't know why, but
I think they haven't tried to replace him.
Devin Singletary is
Zach Moss.
Yeah, they tried to replace him, and Zach Moss just sucked.
JD whatever.
They wanted to sign
JD
JD
I think it's a different position though. I think they're trying to build a different position.
But they did literally try to draft.
Yeah,
Zach Moss.
they try to, and they try. Yeah, it's just look. I love Devin Singletary. It's just the Bills. They don't. I don't know why they don't.
Yeah, no one's gonna like no one wants to say they like Devin Singletary. So I appreciate you, Scott.
Love him.
Yeah, I do not like Devin Singletary, for the record.
Pat wants to know if he should be lower on CeeDee Lamb.
Lower than what?
No.
Any wide receiver recommendations for tanking team this season? Looking to trade for a top 12 type? Well, you're not going to tank if you trade for a top 12 wide receiver. Get the points off your roster.
Jalen Waddle.
He wants an exploding where they're middling this year and then they explode into top 12.
No, Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle is the one to trade for. Yeah. Because he's very good, but you might see a little bit of a lull in production this year.
Oh, I think he outscores Hill this year.
I don't. I think that starts to come next year.
Hold or sell Mike Williams.
Sell. Someone asked me this question on Twitter. I don't know if it was you, Anthony, but I definitely said sell. I'll take it. I'm just not interested in Mike Williams. I mean, his good games were all at the beginning of the year, and we know I don't like that. The good games were at the beginning of the year, and then at the end, there were no good games. So I don't. And now we're already becoming 28 when the good games were at the beginning, and really, it was like 1 5-game stretch in the career. I'm just not interested in Mike Williams. So he's a player I guess I've also probably never liked. I don't think I've ever liked Mike Williams. So I'm just selling for sure.
Austin Eckler, who I think he turned 27 today. Is that right?
Maybe.
Yeah, happy birthday, Austin.
Is it time to get out?
No. I mean, yes.
It was like a year ago. If you were going to get out.
Actually, with Austin Eckler, he had a really good 2021 season, and people have this perception of him that he has value in the passing game, so he'll age better. So actually, he's kind of retained his value a little bit better. But yes, I actually think now is the time to get out because the value is still high end. So I would try to move on from Austin Eckler.
Okay, can I just say real quick? Like, I think there's a lot of people. I said something. I got so like tired of responding to like the same thing where people are like, oh, I asked on Twitter, like, what's your number one mistake you think dynasty managers make? So many people said trading productive veterans like this for youth and basically for nothing. So like for third or fourth round picks is what people were saying. And that is not what anybody is advocating for. No one thinks because he's 27, trade him for a fourth round pick. It's when people talk about trading out of people like this for value, it's not wait till they're unproductive and worth nothing and then trade them for nothing. You're trying to avoid that. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. Sorry for my soapbox. Sell Dobbins for 23 picks or a young wide receiver. You would say yes, I know, Tyler. What do you think?
I would say yes, yeah.
Yeah, look, I love Dobbins coming out of college, but no. I mean, I was selling him last year. So I'm definitely selling him now if someone's going to give me again, it's going to depend on what you're getting back. Like, I'm not trading him for Jalen Reagor. But if you give me a young wide receiver that's good, yeah.
I think you can get Jameson Williams plus for Dobbins, and I would just do that.
I would do that all day. Yeah.
Any love for Snoop Connor in Jacksonville?
To put on your roster, sure, but the odds of Travis Etienne is pretty much ready to go. You know, when they say Travis Etienne is not 100%, I think what that means is that Travis Etienne is not 100% of what he was and never will be, but he is 100% of what he's going to be. He has not returned to what the explosiveness that he had, and off of Liz Frank, I mean, there's no guarantee that he will. So, you know, I think that he is healthy as he will be moving forward. So there's no chance that Snoop Connor will be the starting running back. Now, James Robinson tore his Achilles, so he might be ready. I would not count on him being ready. So I guess Snoop Connor could be the backup, but we'll have to see.
A resident Canadian and Dustin appreciates that you seem less agitated without your kid Canada and Jacob. Shane?
Yeah, I mean, Canadians are they're vexing people. There's this fake veneer of politeness. They're very passive aggressive. I don't appreciate it, but you know, it's all right.
Henry said he in one of his leagues 206, 209, 212 for 105 happened in a 14-team league. Love it.
Okay.
I mean,
congratulations.
People get struck by lightning all the time, but that doesn't mean that it's a common occurrence.
It's true.
What on top of CEH lands you a guy like Fournette or Chubb?
Well, I don't know. CEH is irrelevant in terms of trading for Chubb.
That's the problem. CEH doesn't matter at all in that.
So what should I trade for Chubb? Should be the question.
Yeah, I don't.
What do I have
These
to
are
add
unrelated
to
questions.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the trade?
Yeah, I don't see this. I don't know how to answer this because Clyde is not really worth anything. So it's not about adding to him.
Yeah, if you want to get Fournette, right, and you want to try going the cheap, I'm throwing multiple 20 or second round draft picks at him because I can't stomach giving up a first. If you're really all in on a running back, which I suggest you never be, and you're willing to do it, and you have reason to believe that your 2023 first will not be early, I still can't do it. No.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it.
I tried to talk myself into it, and I just couldn't.
Yeah, I won't.
I'll give up 2022 first round draft picks for Chubb. And I'll give up 22 seconds and 23 seconds for Fournette. I'll even throw in a 24 second if that gets.
Yeah.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire or 207?
207.
Clyde.
Fields for Hurts plus what?
Oh, that's not possible. That's not possible. You can't do that anymore.
Fields for Hurts? Yeah,
I would rather Hurts. Yeah.
Have you seen? Yes, I don't know if you've actually noticed. The Bears have gone to prison to get wide receivers, whereas Hurts just got who's that guy? AJ Brown and Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert. The
problem with the Bears lies in the ownership suite.
Yeah, there's something wrong in the water there because I know Matt Nagy was awful, but
yeah. The Jaguars are even more suspicious, but the Bears.
At least they tried, right? Like they failed.
At least they tried, yeah.
Right.
The Bears, I don't know what they're thinking.
Bears definitely put in no effort, none at all.
None.
They were like, no.
Well, they did
Byron
acquire
Campbell,
Velus Jones. They
Velus
did do that.
Jones. Well, they wanted someone that was old enough to mentor.
Well, they needed a special
Justin
teamer.
Fields.
They needed some help on the special teams.
Yeah.
And all that forgets about Equanimous St. Brown, just like people seem to be forgetting that I'm sitting right here and Dad 30, Shane and Tyler in the same show. Christmas came early.
No, I saw one in there. There was one that said that you and Tyler are awesome.
My name is @Calvin and Hobby. You can find me on Twitter. Go hit me up right there. No, these guys are awesome. I love that I get to do this. Garrett Wilson or a 2023 first?
Garrett Wilson.
You're gonna have to. It depends on my mood that day. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like Garrett Wilson a lot. I can be convinced that a 23 first is basically worth more than just about any singular, than most singular players in fantasy football right now.
I think you're right. I can go back and forth. Okay. Somebody wants Mixon offered a 24 first and a 2022 second.
That's just not good enough.
You know, I'm getting annoyed. All these. Okay, so here's what's happening. We're all caving and not giving, except like we're letting everyone just not give us a 23 first. Like everyone's now skipping it like the year doesn't exist.
You can trade for players, you know. Yeah. Like I think you'll get a better offer for Mixon in players than you will in picks. Would be my advice. That offer is not good enough.
Hi, Shane. Sell Rondale for whatever I can get.
Yes, and
you can't get an early second for him.
Yes,
or
and yes.
No, not true. I know someone that traded the 206 in the DFL Family Squabble League for Rondale Moore, or got Rondale Moore, or got that pick for Rondale Moore. Me.
Was that you? I was gonna say, was that you? Yeah. I think Peter's on the clock there. We need to wake him up. Burke's upside greater than Walker's?
Hard to say. I mean, running backs are so valuable if they hit. Burks has a lot of upside too. I don't know how to say which one is greater. It's a complicated question.
They're shooting stars. Like, can Ken Walker give you 2 RB1 seasons? Because if he can, that's greater than 5 wide receiver 2 seasons from Burks. But can Burks give you multiple wide receiver 1 seasons?
Maybe.
Legitimately, if I had to bet on it, since you're asking us, I'll go with Burks. Yes, I'll say his upside is greater than Walker's.
Good question from Gavin here. Big debate in his league. Should suspended players be allowed in IR slots? No. Do not do that. Touchdown only league. Is Algier a first round pick?
No. Why would
Atlanta running back?
Why would he be a first round pick in a touchdown only league specifically? Atlanta has a terrible offense.
Yeah, with a team that's not going to score very many.
I don't know what that has to do with anything. So the answer is no.
Quick fan or no fan for of Christian Watson?
There's a reason he's going between 110 and 202. No one has any idea. He's physically gifted. Who knows?
He played at a lower level of competitions, so those players are always a little bit of a black box. It's harder to know exactly how good they're going to be. But he's okay. Yeah, I'm fine drafting him. I don't have like an issue with drafting him.
Joe, what's up? Haven't seen you in the chat in a while. Good to see you. Hi, guys. 23 second or Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, I mean, I've trashed Darnell Mooney quite a bit, but he's a wide receiver too, at least. So I'm good. I'll take him.
Mooney for sure. He had 140 targets last year.
We're telling people don't be mean to Shane. No, nobody would ever be mean to Shane.
Nobody would be mean to Shane. And hi, Nor.
Let's see. Flex. Okay, here we go. I think Pluto not being a planet has to do with its orbit.
This, as someone who knows Nor, this sounds like exactly like something he would say.
Because I am not sure, I'll say yes. That sounds correct.
Pittman in 105 or Deontay in a 24 first. Again, skipping 23.
Okay, so 23 doesn't exist. I'm taking Deontay because I like him significantly more than I like Pittman. I know the 24 first is forever away. Hopefully I can package that and get a 23 first out of it somehow. If I convince another league mate that that's an actual year.
I'll take the Pittman side.
Pittman side? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm a big Michael Pittman fan.
Do you have any thoughts about Rachaad White taking over next year in Tampa Bay? Do you think that's going to happen?
I mean, Leonard Fournette's contract says that he's going to be there for this year and next year. So unless he just becomes washed, which is very possible at his age, you know, I don't know. Rachaad White is not someone that I really think is meant to be any sort of workhorse. Rachaad White is always going to share the backfield with another back, specifically in that he's going to take the receiving role, which is what he did in college, and someone else is going to have to take some of those harder yards. So taking over, no, but, you know, the PPR value is what we want. So, I mean, really, Rachaad White's ceiling is probably what Austin Eckler was when Melvin Gordon was still there at times. That's probably his ceiling.
Let's say you were a person that was going to trade a 2023 first, Shane. Who would you be targeting? Wide receiver or running back?
Let's just look at a tier. Like I'm targeting anybody from running back probably 4 to 12. Only, and I mean, obviously I'd want JT and those Swift, but I don't know that I would get them. Najee Harris, I'm probably not getting for a singular. If I'm going to do it, okay.
It's hard to say what we're going to trade for in November.
Yeah, no, so that's why I'm saying look for a tier at that point. Like you should never get beholden to a name anyway. Like these players' names really don't matter. Just look at their range of outcomes. Not their range of outcomes, but look for a player in a certain tier, and then go find that tier of player on each roster or wherever they might lie. Multiple ones might be on one roster, and go trade for them. I want at least someone that's at worst, like RB6. You know what I mean? Because at running back, the production isn't guaranteed to be long term, so I want it to be impactful. Wide receiver, I'm a little more forgiving because of the length of their careers, but I still want to try to get at least a low-end wide receiver one.
We are going to wrap up there. Matthew asked about individual questions, asked one earlier. Hit us up on Twitter. This is not we're well over time, 2 hours. We don't be respectful of Shane's time, your time, and all of that. But hit us up there. Like, this is probably the first one we're going to walk away without having answered all the questions, but it was a bunch. Thank you so much, everybody, for those questions. Shane, thank you so much for being here. It was awesome, and everybody loved seeing you. Got to make sure you show your face more often.
Hey, you guys invite me, and I'll probably come on.
I will. And also, I will pick questions for the article from the ones we didn't get to.
Yep. Awesome. And then, yeah, look, seriously, hit any of us up on Twitter. I think Tyler answers as way more questions on Twitter than almost anybody that I am aware of. So
it's true. Yeah. Just at me, and I'll get to you. It's especially nowadays. I found that without doing all my threads, I have plenty of time to get to every question of everyone who asks me.
Make sure you're following at DL Football and become a premium subscriber. It is worth it. There's a great Betsperts Bundle that includes 4 for 4 and Matthew Berry's life
and golf, right?
And golf all kind of great stuff. Make sure you check that out. Until next time, I'm